Hello, camper.
Hello there, friend.
Howdy.
Welcome
Welcome.
Welcome.
to the Truth Cabin.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Truth Cabin, coming to you here on the Truth Cabin podcast feed. My name is Charlie,
I'm Matt.
And I'm Steve.
and it's been a little while since we've been back in the cabin, but we're back for another podcast adventure, guys. How you doing?
I'm doing great. So excited to be back in the cabin. It just there's been a lot of dust accumulation in the archive of truth, which I will have to deal with. But yeah, it's so nice to see you boys.
Yes, likewise. For me, there's nothing like some summer fun in the Truth Cabin, and it's great to be back. But we gotta turn that AC up, Steve. It's a little musty and warm in here, and I want to cool off because it's been hot.
Yes, it's swampy in the cabin. And I personally apologize to the both of you for that.
Hella swampy. Hella swampy.
Oh boy. So we're really excited to be back for this new episode. So we're back to discuss another project that all of us have worked on in some fashion or another. So on and off over the past 15 years, we have been part of something that in recent time we kind of refer to as the Squanto Puppet Universe, which is just a bunch of projects that took place with a group of puppets that were made originally at the camp that we all worked at together, Camp Squanto. So what we are going to be doing for this episode is just talking about the history of the SPU, Squanto Puppet Universe, about some fun facts. We're going to go have some trivia questions and maybe a couple games and just talk about how much fun we had with that project, which just came to an end earlier in the summer of 2023. But to go back to the beginning, I think that Matt is the right person to start it with that because he created one of the first puppets down there. So Matt, why don't you guys kicked off back that summer 2008, creating the puppets?
Sure thing. Back in '08, every summer we would have a campfire at the beginning and the end of each week with skits and songs and dance and things to kind of interact with the audience. But we had never done puppets before, so that was kind of a new concept for the time. And Rupert and Grovel were created by me and fellow camper Joe Wood to basically have a zany adventure weekly for each of the 6 weeks at Camp Squanto. And Rupert was more of a zany. He was green, crazy fuzzy hair, a little kind of like he was over caffeinated or had a lot of anxiety, a lot of mischief, very critical. And then Grovel was more of a sensible, kind of a worrywart and a little more trying to keep everything together when the craziness ensues every week. And with the success of that, the puppet show with Rupert and Grovel in 2008, we brought it back in 2009 with a different adventure, a different skit. And the first one I remember was about hiking. I think the scenario ended with the fact that they couldn't hike because they didn't have legs anyways. And the second skit, I think in 2009, when we brought back Rupert and Grovel to wide acclaim, we had I think it was a fortune teller. Grovel was a fortune teller and was able to interact with campers in the audience. He'd bring them down or they'd stand up and he would tell their fortune. But it was a big hit. And Rupert and Grovel was not yet on YouTube. It wasn't yet part of the Squanto Puppet Universe that you had mentioned, but in its infancy, it was simply just a puppet skit throughout the summer and then a sequel the next year. And then I will send it back to you, Charlie, for the next chapter.
Yeah. So I remember from those earliest puppets that were made, I remember that there were some other puppets that were made as well. And
Yep.
I remember that that was the time we made Quincy as well, which is the puppet that I did for a long period of time. And I remember when in 2010, when you guys were shifting towards doing more YouTube things, and I was at camp that summer. I remember you gave the blessing and the idea of like, what if you did a skit with our friend Ben, who did Myrtle the Turtle, and
Yep.
we did a couple skits that summer too, and we had fun with it. But I remember Ben and I afterwards saying that like we felt like we couldn't recapture the magic that you guys did with yours, but we had so much fun with it, and it was really cool to like have a little bit of a sequel to it, which
Yeah.
ended up and doing that ended up helping with the future of the Squanto Puppet Universe with making other projects. Because even though that one I felt like, that probably wasn't the best one, I think that sequels later on got a lot better. But I
Yeah.
know, sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
I was going to say, I will add, I remember the biggest thing with Rupert and Grovel and your puppets as well was that they were not like a kid show, puppet show. They weren't really for like toddlers.
Mhm.
They were, I would say, more established and I guess mature compared to, say, Sesame Street or something like that. But at the same time, we didn't go all the way in the other direction where it was like Avenue Q and it was more adult oriented and not appropriate for the age group that we were working with. So I feel like they were right in the middle.
Yeah.
They were funny and they were sensible, and I think they including the ones that you had, they told interesting stories, but they were something that both adults and kids could connect with.
Yes. And that was one of my favorite things about this whole thing. So we hit early 2010 at this point,
Yep.
and that's when the idea kind of comes up to turn Rupert and Grovel into a YouTube series. When you do that, you and Matt and Joe got started on that. They brought in Steve to be part of that universe, and Steve was the main editor and creator of a lot of different things with Rupert and Grovel. Made a lot of music and stuff like that. Just did such an amazing job, and of course, he ended up creating his puppet, which I I love a lot of the characters in this universe, but Duncan is by far my favorite character. His personality is just so infectious and I love it. But I'll throw it over to Steve. So Steve, what do you remember from those early conversations about what the Rupert and Gravel series was going to be?
Sure. Yeah. So I obviously worked with you guys at that camp. Um, but I had an early departure from from there. I had gotten an internship and had to leave camp, so I missed the puppet skits at Squanto, but I was still friends with you guys, and the idea was floated to me to work on this Rupert and Grovel web video series, and I was eager to help. I thought it was a funny idea to try to explore, and um, a smaller reason is that I was basically unemployed for that year, and I had nothing else to do, so it felt like a good project to occupy my time. So yeah, I felt like this would be a good opportunity to flex some creative muscles, some video making, editing, animation, music making chops.
Everything.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it was a great decision to jump in and agree to help out with it.
And can you describe who Duncan is and what he brought to the table?
Sure, I can definitely do that. Um, where do I start? Okay, I always see Duncan as only emotionally intelligent. So he lacks he lacks like common sense, critical thinking, but he seems throughout the whole series, and it kind of like developed over the course of the series because we wrote month to month basically, that Duncan was kind of the like calm and collected puppet that Rupert and Grovel would have their issues and stuff, and Duncan was always there to like center them, or be the grounding force of that trio. um yeah, and it felt like Duncan had more and more screen time as the series went on, just because we've found that he was the perfect like comic relief to the tension between Rupert and Grovel, because Rupert and Grovel in their nature is just butt heads, and like that's how we kind of wrote them. And Duncan always felt like the mediator to that tension. So
Yeah, and a bit of a breakout star too.
yes, I have heard quite a bit that Duncan is the favorite. I'm so sorry, Rupert. I'm so sorry, Grovel, but Duncan is it. Duncan's the guy. He's the
Yep,
it's
he's
we
the
should
fan
just rename the whole series. It's the Duncan verse.
Oh yeah.
Have a spin-off show like Joey,
Yes.
Duncan.
Yeah, no, I remember, so that project, the Rupert and Grovel series, which ran for 10 episodes from 2010 to 2011, that was mainly the work of Steve, Matt, and Joe. It was the three of them. And they created a YouTube channel for it, Magglewood, where all those episodes still exist. And I remember myself and Ben, who I mentioned did the skits, some of the skits in 2010 with me. We helped out a little bit behind the scenes with a few episodes where you needed just a couple extra people, and that was an amazing experience. And I remember when you gave Quincy the opportunity to be that extra character that you needed in the Christmas spectacular episode.
Yep.
And that was just a really fun thing to do. As the time went on, I know that there were ideas for future things, there were ideas to go further, but I think that what ended up happening in the end, and I want to hear what you guys think about this, it ended up just becoming more and more clear that that last episode of the series, episode 10, Some Friends, just fit so well as a finale that even though it wasn't designed as one, it kind of like became the last part of it.
Yeah, I remember we had always wanted to shoot for 10 episodes, and we had different varying adventures. Some were just short 2-3 minute videos, and others were like full on Christmas or Halloween extravaganzas. We also entered some of the videos of Rupert and Grovel in the Flim Festival over in Kingston, Massachusetts. And that was cool. We were on the red carpet for that, talking about the puppets. I think that video is also on the Magglewood page.
Mm-hmm.
And also within the same year, we did a live performance of Rupert and Grovel in Boston for the do you remember what it was called, Steve? Like the
puppet show
in Brooklyn
show
show
place.
place in Brookline. Yeah. And it was a live production with Rupert and Grovel, and that is also on the YouTube page. That was a big hit. So we did the 10 episodes. We had some little mini episodes, and every month we'd write up a different script. We kind of bounced back and forth different ideas. And then eventually, like I said, tried out film festivals and live production. And we felt like Charlie had mentioned that with that last episode, the 10th episode, it was like nice and concise. We had explored everything we had wanted with the Rupert and Grovel universe. And we thought maybe there might be something in the future, but we never knew exactly when or what it would be. But I felt like at that time, 2011, when we had wrapped things up, it was a good feeling. It was a nice finale to the whole series.
Yeah, agreed on that. I think we went into it knowing that we'll give it a test run, kind of like how we've handled this podcast,
Yep.
where we set for a number, we'll put our greatest efforts into it, and then just call it quits and know that there's an end to it. And if we want to do more, we can discuss later. But having a set goal to create 10 episodes or whatever it was, and then we were able to just focus on making those the best that they could be, having an end goal in sight. I think if we set out to just keep making them as long as we could, I feel like the quality would have suffered,
Yeah,
to an
get burnt
extent.
out.
Yeah.
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 That makes sense. Yeah, and so after Rupert and Grovel ended in 2011, I remember that project, just even being a little bit part of it like I was, I remember that really got me interested in the idea of being more creative. And I actually got involved in doing a couple of live action, a couple other projects with a few people. It was just fun. Then I remember I was doing an early project with a few friends from college. And I remember Quincy was sitting in a box in my room, and they said we should make a video with this puppet, like just see what happens, try it out. And I remember in 2012 we made a video where basically he was just like basically like he's just trying to eat some goldfish, but since his hands don't work, he can't get to them, but he's like so and he really wants to get to them. And it was just like a test drive thing. I never really saw it turning into anything. I just thought it was a just for fun thing.
Yeah.
And I remember after doing it, I was like, okay, that was fun as a one-time thing. And literally after that point, it kind of just like fizzled out and there wasn't anything for a while. Then 2016 is when Quincy really started to come into his own as a character. I remember I started doing a project with my brother Tyler, who played a role in the Quincy the Final Tale, which I was really happy about. And what he and what we did is we were making a couple things and we needed other characters besides just the two of us. So I had Quincy and then I had the character that we now call Quincy, but he was just another Quincy puppet that Joe had made. And we were both just like, okay, like we have these two, let's use them somehow. And we did in a couple of things and it was fun. But then we're just like, well, if we're doing them, I might as well try to make this solo Quincy series I've always thought about.
Yeah.
And Tyler, my brother Tyler, and I made that together, and we had so much fun with it. And the reason why I think it went so well was because we were very adamant about the idea of like, this is not going to be a repeat of Rupert and Grovel. It's going to clearly be in the same universe as them, but it's going to be a different vibe. Basically, I did the vibe of like, go with a general idea, film a bunch of stuff, then pick out the things that you like a real improv style to it, and really just a solo adventure for most of it. And we did that on and off for about 3 or 4 years. So we probably made about the same amount of episodes in the end, I think, than Rupert and Grovel did in a shorter period of time. Then in 2020, we made the choice to put it all onto one channel. So Quincy the Puppet is the second Squanto Puppet Universe YouTube channel. And I remember I had this big idea where I was like, I want to do a big finale of some kind. And basically, all of a sudden, the pandemic hit, and that kind of changed the ideas for a big finale. But luckily, we were able to create something, and we made the Zoom video. The three of us made that. And honestly, I think that Zoom video and showing us that it was so easy to create something probably was the reason why we thought the Truth Cabinet would end up working. Because that Zoom video worked so well and it turned into such a fun video that it ended up helping us grow and start this project. But yeah, in 2020, I basically was pretty sure that that was the end of it right there. Even though it wasn't really the designed finale, I think it was just where we were at that point. So I just wanted to ask you guys, I'm always curious about this. So when I told you guys that I was going to start making some solo Quincy videos all those years ago, do you remember like what your thought process was or like what you thought of some of those early videos or even the one we made together, that Zoom video with Snarkoni, Duncan, and Quincy?
I thought it was great. I thought it was very sweet to hear that you wanted to continue the like Rupert and Grovel universe, and knowing that it was something you were passionate about to create something for yourself and, follow that interest. Um, it wasn't like, no, you can't use Rupert and Grovel, like the the IP of Rupert and Grovel in other videos without us. There was a level of like, yes, of course, like carry that torch and um, add to the canon, if you will.
Yeah, and it was cool to see the creativity behind each episode and how you kind of branched off and did different things with the puppet, and also uh was it Star Bros, the other project you
Yeah, that was
did
the
a
that
couple
was the
different
big
projects.
project that we did with the Quincy puppets. Yeah.
Yep. And it was nice to see the character evolve from kind of a background character or a side character in the Christmas episode to a full-blown main character in his own series. And the fact that you were able to produce that many episodes with a limited crew, it was basically you and your brother, right?
Yeah, it was just me and Tyler.
Yeah, I love the creativity behind it. So I was a big fan of Quincy, and I loved seeing the legacy continue. Like Steve said, kind of carrying the torch on YouTube. Um, that was the thing, that we had already been out of Camp Squanto for years, so YouTube became the kind of the outlet to continue their stories.
Mhm.
And it was a it was also, with what you were talking about earlier with the Zoom chat, it was cool to see everyone reunited on the Zoom chat, and I was like, man, wouldn't that be cool if we did one more episode? And I think that's where you're probably going to talk about next, right?
Yeah. I I had already started the idea of a final like series of videos, but obviously, like I said, the pandemic hit, we made the Zoom one, and I was kind of like, okay, that'll be it. A couple of years, that was in 2020. A couple of years pass and it's early 2023. And this idea pops up again. Basically, I'm a big Google Doc person. I go in my Google Drive and I have a ton of like things written down from the past. And I remember I saw like the general write up that I had made about some ideas for that story. And I was just sitting there going like, you know what? I really would love to make this. And what I kept reminding myself of was like, while obviously Rupert and Grovel and Quincy both on their channels had good last episodes, really nice last episodes. But I just couldn't shake the idea for me that was like, these were not designed to be like going into it, you know that this is the last time that you're going to see them. And I just kept saying, like, I'd love to create something where everybody comes in,
Yep.
everybody knows like this is the last time you're going to see them. And then we could say goodbye. And I remember reaching out to Steve saying, Steve, what do you think about this idea? And Steve said, yeah, I'll help you with it. And he did a lot, and we did the editing for Quincy the Final Tale together. And then obviously we were able to get literally everybody who was involved in a major way in some way back to do voiceover, to do a ton of different stuff for it. And Quincy the Final Tale came out as a 4-part series, and it was really exactly what I was looking for. And I think for all of us, I'm going to speak for myself, but I want to hear what you guys think. This 4-part Quincy the Final Tale series was just like, it was exactly what I was hoping for. It had a lot of the stuff from Rupert and Grovel. It had like the feel of a Rupert and Grovel episode, but it also had like what made Quincy special and his like more improv and more goofy kind of personality that he'd had with just like going straight forward with things. And then it added a little lore to some of the stories. I was really big about the idea of making Quincy, the second Quincy puppet, his own character. And just the goofy idea of like they look exactly alike, but and they have basically the same name, but everyone's like, "What are you talking about? You don't look the same at all." Like it's like the goofy idea of that, and then bringing back a bunch of obscure characters, even like bringing back the fish, which I love that little character from the Duncan's Friend episode, having Fish return for just a little cameo was just huge. And yeah, I'd love to hear what you guys think. Matt, why don't you kick us off? What were your thoughts about when I came to you about that project and how it ended up turning out in the end for Quincy the Final Tale?
Well, first of all, who doesn't love a reboot, right?
That's right. Amen.
I feel like with TV in the last 6 or 7 years, there's been a lot of reboots like Fuller House and all the others where it is like it gives you the warm and fuzzies to see all these characters that you saw from years past all together for one last time, like a reunion of sorts. And like you said, it was to see the universe expanded a little bit, to expand the lore of the whole Squanto Puppet Universe, and see some of those familiar characters that maybe weren't as hashed out in the past, to see them have more of a presence and more of a personality and how they kind of connect with each other. And just seeing all these familiar puppets pop up here and there throughout the episodes, it was like when you first mentioned the idea, I was on board. But then the final product, once I saw it, I was like, wow, this really came together in a nice 4-part series, and it felt like a nice, concise finish to the whole effort, and I was impressed, even down to the music and the animation and the story and the use of editing new and old footage together to create a new story. It was amazing, and it's no easy feat to get every single puppet back into a show with a good story and everyone on board for the most part. So I was very impressed with what you were able to achieve, and it's the best part about having these videos on YouTube is that they're there forever, right?
Absolutely.
And that was the gift that kept on giving with Rupert and Grovel. Was every year around Christmas, I'd watch the Rupert and Grovel episode or the Halloween episode in October. So it's nice to always revisit the stories, and it was even better to revisit the characters with the new 4-part episodes.
I mean, if you want to give some extra credit, I think that Steve has this incredible ability to just like take a story arc or a character and just find the right music for it. Like the
Yeah.
Rupert and Gravel music just fits so well. When he made the Truth Cabin music, it just fits so well. And then he created some of the music for Quincy the Final Tale that was used. And it was just like, wow, like you just found a way to fit the narrative of what we're trying to do here.
Aw, guys,
Way to go,
thanks.
Steve.
Yeah, I even though I'm not a very musical person, I don't play an instrument. I'm able to like string together MIDI notes in GarageBand just well enough to get by, and I enjoy that process. So yeah, I'm always happy to like jump into a project like this and try my hand at getting some sort of mood for it down in music. It's fun. It's fun, and I think that plays a big role in how you perceive something you watch. Not to get like too philosophical in this, but yeah, it makes a big difference just having the right bed for a moment in a thing in a scene or video. um yeah.
I always liked that each character kind of had their own jingle, their own little song, and especially because like some of the songs that were used in the reunion were original from the series way back in the day, right?
Yeah, that was exciting. That was an exciting prospect that we could dig up those files and sprinkle them in to like really connect the Quincy universe with the original Rupert and Grovel stuff. So like even though they're not I think for me, I know all of those songs, but I feel like if somebody were to watch Quincy and if they had seen Rupert and Grovel originally, the original 10 episodes, I always forget how many episodes. It's all a blur.
Yeah.
It's all a blur. That they will kind of have that sense that this feels familiar because it's the same kinds of sounds. That upright bass, I love that upright bass in GarageBand.
And you're seeing those familiar faces, but then you're connecting the familiar sounds and songs that, with each character. So it's visually and sonically just a delight to see them all again.
Yeah. I'll tell you, a lot of the people who were fans of the original Rupert and Gravel series, which came out 12, 13 years ago, who'd watched this 4-part finale, were all I heard from more than one person say it feels like no time has passed at all. Like it feels like when you look at this stuff and you look at Duncan and you look at all the things, like just like it feels like this is just like a continuation of what was happening all those years ago.
Right.
And it's kind of like, and I remember one of our close friends said to us, like, it's just shocking to me how like it feels like this could have been like just the next episode that was made back in 2011.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, you were able to really recapture that original feel of Rupert and Grovel, but like Steve mentioned, kind of merge the two universes together in a concise package, and it was just a great to see it all again, and a nice finale. The last episode of the 4, it was like kind of like overload. All the characters were there, because it was a reunion in the woods, right? So it was great. I couldn't say enough good things about it, and I liked the rollout. I liked that it wasn't just one episode. I liked that it was kind of a rollout over a couple weeks, right?
Yeah. We discussed the idea because I know when the original series came out, making a long format video was kind of like that was the trend. But when we looked at it and we were talking about it, we're like, we're not going to make this like a 15-minute one-time thing. It just made more sense to make 3 or 4 3 to 4 minute episodes that kind of turned into that and kind of spread things out a little bit. And it just all worked out really, really well. And I know for me, I was just like, this is going to be the finale that Rupert and Grovel deserves. This is the finale that Duncan deserves, that Quincy, like it's going to be for everybody. And kind of like merging it all together was just, I'm really happy that we're able to do it. And, it's sometimes nice to, like Matt, like you said, to revisit an old thing and go back to it. And the fact that with the way technology is now, that we were able to just send things like a bunch of different like audio files and use old footage or create footage and just do different things, and just like someone films something on their own and then sends it in and then we just add that into the story. The fact that all worked so well was just, it was really exciting, and I was really happy we were able to wrap up everything that way. And kind of looking at the entire thing,
Yep.
it was basically a 15-year time period from like when the puppets were created to now. But obviously, like there's been a lot of differences. There are huge gaps in between. Like I said, from 2012 to 2016, there was nothing. And then after we made that Zoom video, it was like a 3-year period we did nothing. So it's not like this has been an active thing for 15 years, but an on and off thing that I was just like, okay, this is the real end here, which is one of the reasons why we stuck with calling it, Quincy, the final tale. So it's like, no, like now we're stuck with it. Like there's no way to bring it back now. This is the end.
So Quincy's not going to be a TikTok star next.
He's got to be.
Yeah, he has the chops for it, but
You did the long format. Now you can do the short format.
Yeah.
Or maybe Vine, if that was still a thing.
Yeah, no, he would be good at that. I honestly think that Duncan would be an amazing TikToker.
I agree. Maybe there's a future there for Duncan.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
I remember it popped in my head when we were on the red carpet for that Flim Fest. They were asking about the characters and like how, and I was like, they're kind of reflections of ourselves. And I was like, Rupert's really zany and Duncan's kind of worrywart. And then they like looked at you, Steve, and you're like, Duncan's just kind of dumb.
Yes.
And I'm like, I don't know what that says about Steve, but I thought
says a lot. It says a lot.
I think you're an A-okay fellow, Steve.
Thanks.
I don't think
that's
you're
all
dumb.
that's important, really.
That's right. I totally always thought that too. I always got the vibe that, like, I think Quincy has a little bit of pieces of my personality in him. I think that Quincy does. I think that both Snarkoni and Rupert, for you, they're little pieces there of your humor and stuff. But I always thought that Duncan was just like, Duncan's the one that's like the opposite of who Steve actually is. And that's one of the reasons why I like to, it's just like when he starts voicing him, it's almost like he just turns into a different person.
Yeah.
Really feels like fully fleshed out, this is his own character type thing. I think it's one of the reasons why I've always said that Duncan's one of my favorites.
Yeah. If you haven't seen the Christmas episode of Rupert and Grovel where Duncan has a solo song
Yes, it's wonderful.
singing about snow or the lack thereof, make sure you check that out.
Yes. Oh no,
It's like
yeah.
a music video.
Yes, that whole episode was very special.
Yeah,
Just
it
like
still
the
is.
process of writing all of those songs and recording them and putting video to them. It felt like a completely different process than the other episodes where it was just like we had a script and we shot the script.
Yeah.
This was like, let's write songs about Christmas in in how each of those characters would have a bad Christmas. And like that was basically the whole premise of the thing, like the three of them having a bad Christmas and singing about it. It was an interesting take on the like Christmas special.
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah. How many people do you know that have created original Christmas songs, right?
Not
That's
many.
pretty. I mean, there's a lot of existing Christmas songs to use, and a majority of the, I mean, basically all the songs except for one. I think we did "Hark the Herald Angels Sing," right?
Yeah.
But all the others were like literally original Christmas songs, and so many jingle bells. I remember all the bells. Like it gave you that perfect the Christmas vibe, you know?
Oh yeah. I think that this whole thing, whether it's between Rupert and Grovel, Quincy, all this stuff, I think and even our podcast that we're doing, I always just think that we're a type of people who just like that creative outlet. And it's like, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it. And that was one of the things when I remember seeing the way that Christmas episode came out. And I remember helping with like the setup of everything. And we got all that Christmas stuff in one room to make it fit that scene.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh no, we're going all in on this. Like, it doesn't matter how many views this gets. This is about like, we're going to feel great about this years later. And you guys hit the nail on the head. I remember thinking that at the time, like, well, this is a lot of work for something that's only going to get like maybe 300 to 500 views or something like that. And then you were like, yeah, but we're going to watch it and we're going to be happy with it. And years later, I know with finishing off everything, I can't wait like 10 years from now to just watch some of these episodes still and just be like, wow, like I remember doing this, that, and this and doing everything. And viewership has never been part of it. I think that's one of the great things about the Squanto Puppet Universe. It was never about trying to it was never about trying to go viral. It was about like making a really creative project that we were proud of. And then if our family and friends and other people enjoy it too, that's just icing on the cake.
Yeah. It is kind of crazy to think that when Rupert and Grovel premiered and ran its run, YouTube was only 5 years old. You know, it was still a relatively new format. So it'd be interesting to look decades from now back at Rupert and Grovel being at the very forefront of creative content when YouTube was in its infancy, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So that's just I bet there's a million other things we could go into, but that's a brief history going from like the start to finish of the Squanto Puppet Universe. But we have a lot of other fun stuff that we want to do. So I took some time.
Boy.
No, I know.
Skippy.
So I got a lot of information. I literally looked around on the YouTube channels. I got a lot of info.
Yeah.
And I put together a bunch of trivia questions for my fellow counselors to try to see if they can get this right. So these are based on the videos from the Magawood and Quincy the Puppet YouTube channel, basically everything that exists on YouTube in the Squanto Puppet universe. And the way I set it up based on these things is this. So based on just what we consider like a canonical, like an actual episode, we'll say Rupert and Grovel has 10 episodes. Then Quincy the Puppet is 15, including the 4 final tales. And then also I put in that there were the 3 messages with Duncan, the 2 on Magawood and the 1 on Quincy the Puppet. So if you add those up, there are 28 like actual episodes. Then there are a few others that exist in there, like you said, like the live show of Rupert and Grovel, the extended edition that we did of the Zoom call. Those things I think I put to the side. So like, these are kind of like the extra stuff, but these are like the actual like episodes. So there are 28 episodes total. All right, between the 10 Rupert and Grovel, the 3 messages with Duncan, and then the 15 Quincy the Puppet. Last 4 of those being Quincy the Final Tale. So based on that, I have some questions here, and we'll see how you guys do. So just let's get your
I'm nervous.
get your Squanto Puppet caps on, and
Mhm.
here we go. So I'm gonna go back and I'll go back and forth. We'll start with you, Matt. All right, you
Oh,
ready?
yep, I'm ready.
Okay. So 28 episodes. Which character do you think appeared in the most episodes of
I'm
those
gonna
28?
I'm gonna say, that's a really good question. Was it Duncan?
It was Duncan. Duncan appeared in 17 of the 28 overall episodes. And so he appeared in the most overall.
Yep.
Uh,
I figured with his Duncan messages that would bring the number up, and then he did
yes,
appear in some Quincy stuff too, right? So,
yes,
yep,
absolutely.
He's the ultimate crossover character, you
I
know.
yep.
agree. I agree. Uh,
Okay, next question. Next question.
yeah, well, we'll just
What?
do...
What? You're a little salty. I can tell. I can tell.
All right. So we'll just do number one and number two for you guys. Then I'll just tell you the list from down to there. But Steve,
Yep.
which character do you think appeared in the second most episodes over?
Second most episodes.
So 17 for Duncan out of 28. Who appeared in the second most?
I think I'm gonna go with Quincy.
You are right, Quincy. Quincy appeared in 16 because he appeared in all 15 Quincy the Puppet episodes and then
Yep.
the one in the Christmas Spectacular.
Yep.
Good job, guys. So after that, I'll go right down the list. And what I did to make this list was I said it's a character that was not in only one episode. So they weren't like a cameo. So like Bob for Apples is not in this one. But it's a character that either showed their face in more than one episode and spoke in at least one of them.
Yep.
So looking at that list, in third is Rupert, who appeared in 14 episodes. And he actually appeared technically in one more episode overall than Grovel, who's in fourth with 13. Because technically, Rupert was on the other side of the phone in the first Quincy the Final Tale episode.
That's
So that
true. That's
he has
true.
Mm.
one extra appearance in him. So Grovel is fourth with 13. Then it's a big fall after that. So fifth is Snarkoni.
Yep.
Snarkoni appeared in 6 episodes overall between the two. Then sixth is Quincy. He appeared in all 4 of the Final Tale episodes and one of Quincy's other videos. Then it's a 3-way tie for seventh with 2 appearances. The 3 characters who appeared twice that fit into this was Fish, so the Fish character who I absolutely love, Felix, because technically he was in the Christmas, he was one of the singers in Christmas Spectacular and was in the Some Friends. And
Yep.
then Mr. Woods, who's the character that we created for my brother Tyler, so you could have a voiceover. He was in 2 episodes of The Final Tale. So that's the list of how they all fit into there. But obviously there were a lot of other characters in there. But to go with that, we're going on to our next trivia question. All right.
Oh,
All right. We're going back to you, Matt. All right. You should know this one because we just talked about this one not that long ago.
Okay, lay it on me.
What video in the Squanto Puppet Universe has the most views?
The most views.
The most views overall. Which one is the most views overall of those main of all the ones we've made?
I'm gonna guess the. I'm gonna guess the very first episode when they're planning out their vacation.
Yep, Rupert's Getaway. You're right. So yeah, Rupert's Getaway actually right after the first episode of Quincy the Final Tale came out, all of a sudden it was really cool, and I was hoping this. The original Rupert and Grovel series saw a big uptick in viewership. Like a lot more people are going back to watch that because we were putting links saying, "Hey, if you want to watch the old Quincy stuff,
Ah,
watch the Rupert and Grovel stuff." And that video became the first one to pass over 1,000 views, which was really cool for us
that's
to
awesome.
have one. But that is the overall the number one in views.
amazing.
Very, very nice. All right, Steve, what is the longest video
Oh,
between all of them and both
between all of
channels?
them.
Which one's the longest?
I
It's very
I
close
think
to you two.
I th- I want to say it's the Christmas episode at like what 15 minutes or
So it is the Christmas Spectacular
yes,
at 13 minutes and 35 seconds.
13.
Yep.
Lucky 13.
Yep.
Yes, that is right.
So we've got every question right so far, right?
I know you guys are doing a great job.
We know the stuff.
Yes, you do. Okay. So next question. Back to you, Matt. So taking a look at, we're going to Rupert and Grovel for this one.
Yep.
So we said, so looking at all the episodes of Rupert and Grovel, what character between the main three, so between Rupert, Grovel, and Duncan, between those three,
Yep.
this one took me a while. Which character do you think had the most camera time?
I'm gonna guess Rupert.
You are right. It is Rupert. Yeah. It
We're
was
on the streak here.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was very close. I basically went through and there's a thing I was able to use to figure out like how long they were on screen.
Yep.
And it's very close. Duncan's actually pretty close to that, but Rupert technically does have the most screen time in the original series overall.
yeah. Rupert has more like just Rupert being Rupert
Yes.
than Duncan. It always feels like a side character. He never has really like scenes on his own, you know,
Yeah.
or
He's
like
like kind
long
of pops in.
monologues.
Yeah.
Yes.
He would always pop in for like a one-liner, you know,
Yep.
or to save the day.
To say
Yes.
one liner or to save the day. Hey,
Yep.
that's the life right there.
Rupert can carry a scene. He can really carry a scene.
Oh,
Yeah.
He has the emotional depth
He's the full
to do
weight.
that.
Yeah.
Yes.
all right. So Steve, this one's for you. So I mentioned that before Quincy's videos were on his channel now, Quincy the Puppet, they're originally on another channel, a channel that I made with my brother that we decided to take the videos off of, but we still put some videos on a separate channel here and there. But what was the name of that channel that my brother and I made together that was the original home of Quincy videos?
Was this Mac Attack?
The Mac Attack. Good job.
Oh.
Yes. Mac Attack was the name of that channel. Wow, you guys.
This feels really good to like have this streak.
Yeah.
I gotta
Well,
say.
well, we're about to finish up, so I got only one more question for both of you. So, let's hope that you can finish it off.
Don't mess this up, Steve.
Yeah, careful. All right, so we're going to go to you, Matt.
Yep.
So, total, we're talking about voice actors here. So, voice talent. How many different characters are voiced throughout the entire universe? So, think about like Rupert, Grovel, Duncan, Snarkoni, all of them are different characters. How many
Yeah.
different characters actually have a voice to them and speak? Not, and also don't consider like Christmas Spectacular where like it's like a bunch of people singing together, like have like
Yep.
a individualized voice.
Yep. Okay, so from the most recent series, I know it's Quincy,
Yep.
and is it Mr. Wood?
Mr. Woods. Yep. Those are the
three, right?
Yep.
And then we'll go with the basics: Rupert, Grovel, Duncan, Snarkoni, Fish,
Mm-hmm.
Felix,
Mm-hmm.
and that is 9. I'm trying to think if there's any others.
You're missing. You're
Gonna
missing.
help.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hop in.
you
You're
can
All
excited.
right. Bob for apples.
Bob for apples.
That's 10. Yep. I mean, we know like there were a lot of characters, but not all of them spoke.
Yes.
The turtle, I don't think ever had a full talking role. So we're
Turtle
still
never had her moment to shine.
right. So we're still at 10. Oh, there's that little mouse. That's 11.
Baxter.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Baxter the mouse.
Good job.
Baxter the mouse. And then if you count the cat purring and growling, I think that counts as a character.
I put in Tabitha and then
the dog, yeah. Scruff.
Scruff. Yep. And there's one more big one that you just forgot to mention, but and they're gonna be like, oh yeah, I just didn't mention this one.
I said Rupert, Grovel, Duncan, Snarkoni, right?
Yep.
Did I say Quincy and Quincy, right?
Yep.
And I'm missing one big character.
Well, I think you said I didn't hear Snarkoni before. I thought you didn't mention it, but
Yep.
Snarkoni, that's the last one. And
yep. So I got them all.
You got them all. Good job.
What was that? 13, 14? How many were there?
14 total.
14.
It's 14. Good job.
Yep.
We
Yeah.
had to get there, but we found our way.
Yep. We found our way. I'm like, yeah, the cat does count. It did have a little,
Yep. I was hoping you mentioned the cat and dog.
Yeah.
That was the one. That's where I thought I was going to get you, not mentioning them.
Yeah. We
Technically, they do
never
have a voice.
Yep. We never did hear from Terry the grocer, did we, Steve? He was like an
No, we didn't.
off camera character.
Yeah,
Well,
we
there's
saw
two
his
off
voicemail. We saw that he left a voicemail or a message. I don't
Jerry
know.
the grocer and Jerry the squirrel. Like
Yeah.
all these like characters were like never seen, but they were just
Yes.
you knew they were there.
Yep. And then there were characters like the turtle and the bear. His name was just Bear, right?
Yeah, he just would stare.
He's
The
just
bear
sitting there like
Yeah, he would just like
Mhm.
sit there
Just
and look, and that was one of
just
my favorite
mute.
things. Oh yeah. All right.
I
We got one more question.
we have one more question.
One more.
Okay.
Steve, this is yours. You're gonna finish.
Oh,
You've gotten all of them right.
I thought that was it.
Don't
No,
ruin
no,
the
no,
streak.
no, no. Naive. Yo, of course there's one more question.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Okay. So, Steve, I'm going to give you a be able to round here within 10 minutes.
Oh boy.
You add up all of the 28 main videos within 10 minutes, one way or another. How much content is there?
Oh boy.
This is the hardest one.
This
I
is the
saved
hardest
best for
one.
last.
This is
So
the hardest one. I'm gonna get this wrong. I can feel it. All right. So Rupert and Grovel averages about 5 minutes an episode, give or take. So I'm gonna say 50 minutes. Let's sprinkle in like 5-ish for Duncan's messages. Or are we not counting those?
no, we're going to say the big 28. So the
Big
28,
28. Okay.
the messages, all 15 Quincy and the 10 Rupert and Grovel.
Sure. Okay. So I'm going to say Quincy pre-final 4 episodes average about 2 or 3 minutes.
About, yeah.
Okay. So that's now I'm just getting into math. Now we're just like showing off my math skills.
What do you want me to do? 15
Jeez,
times
I didn't
two,
sign
Steve?
up for this. Where's Duncan? Where's Duncan? I need Duncan
to save the day.
Yeah. Okay. So
take a shot. General you in general state.
Sure.
Pretty close. We'll probably just give it to you.
All right. I'm gonna say about 95 minutes.
I think you're gonna get it for that because the grand total is 102 minutes. I think that's I think you get that's we said within 10 minutes one way or the other. So good job. 102 minutes of content.
Great.
Wow, we actually got every question right. Nice job, Steve.
What a stressful situation that was. I didn't
Charlie,
think I would.
Charlie, what do we win?
The knowledge of knowing that you won.
No, thank you.
You're welcome.
And if you don't mind, Counselor Charlie, I do have a few Rupert and Grovel trivia questions that I had.
Ooh, no, let's keep going.
That I had written for like a game night potentially, but what better place? Going. So these are Rupert and Grovel content trivia. So this is like deep lore stuff. Ooh. So don't feel bad if you're not getting these.
Let's give it a shot. I'm excited.
I think this is an easy one. In the Halloween episode, what costume is Duncan wearing?
Pee Wee Herman.
Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah.
May he rest in peace.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. On that same vein, what costume is Rupert wearing?
Do you remember, Charlie?
Would it be a cowboy technically, or
it's a cowboy?
A cowboy hat, but I wasn't sure if it was technically a cowboy.
Yeah, he had like a little handkerchief too, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. In the Halloween episode, what game are they playing at the end of the episode?
Pin the tail on the pumpkin.
Of course. Yes, you got it. Okay, let's see. In A Night with Tabitha, what
Ooh.
song does Grovel want Rupert to lullaby Tabitha
Oh,
to sleep with?
Do you know, Charlie?
it's Andrew Lloyd Webber, right? The Memories.
Yes,
Memory, yeah, memory, right?
memory.
Yeah, Memory. Yeah,
Yes.
Memory. I knew it was something like that. I just remember Andrew Lloyd Webber was like the joke that Grovel.
From Cats, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. In the episode The Hunt, there are 5 items on the supply checklist. This is
Yeah.
this is a tough one.
Ooh,
So
yeah.
this is just points for getting any of them.
Yeah.
What are
Okay.
those 5 items?
Charlie, you go first if you can remember any.
Well, I know my favorite one was the first aid kit because because Rupert's like first aid kit. Got it. Like he's really excited. So I'll say first aid kit.
Yep.
Um,
A
uh,
hint, they speak all of these things in the episode.
Yep.
yeah. Then
I remember bats or weapons.
Yep, weapons is on the list.
Weapons.
Okay.
There are
Well,
5 things, right?
yeah. Then there
5
was
things.
the net, right?
A big net.
Big net. Big net in particular.
Uh, helmets? No.
No, not helmets.
They
What
wear
was
a helmet or a hat, but they don't have it on the
Yeah,
list.
was the
Um,
map considered
the
one of
map was on the
map
list.
was one of them? All right. So there's
so
one more.
we're missing one.
Yeah, so we got the net, first aid kit, weapons, map.
Mm,
Oh boy.
this is a tricky one.
Yeah, this is a tricky one. I'm trying to.
Do you think we'll get it, Steve?
I don't think so. I don't think so. It's should I
Go for
tell
it. Go
you?
for it.
Is
Yeah.
it big? Wait, is it big something?
It's big something.
Yes, because I remember we're like big net, and then
What's the other one?
was it big bag? Big bag?
Big bag, you got it.
Big
Yeah,
bag.
I got it. I got it. I got
Yeah.
it.
Uh,
My next question was, what of those 5 items does Rupert sniff? But Charlie, you already
yeah.
answered that question.
I
First aid
love
kit.
that. That's one of my favorite. I love those stupid little things.
All right, let's see.
A good question, Steve.
Okay. In the episode Some Friends, give me the 3 qualities Grovel notes about the salamander.
Oh yeah, the salamander. Um, I know one
He
of
writes
them's
them off on
moist.
the yes, moist.
Uh,
This is
Likes to be close,
yeah,
yes.
yes.
very friendly.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Very
Very
friendly.
friendly, likes to be close, moist.
In that order.
Yeah. All right, let's do one more and then we'll
Yeah.
call it a day.
Yeah, let's do it. This is good. This has been great.
I think this is going to be an easy one.
Let's hear it.
Complete Rupert's line from Doggy Days. The Civil War wasn't just any war.
Matt, this is you.
It was civil.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Oh, I love it. That was great. Oh,
Thank you, Steve.
yes,
Yeah, thanks for participating in that hijacked trivia.
no, that was awesome. Okay, so now that we've done some trivia, we went over the history. Now we got a game that we're gonna play.
Oh
So
boy.
I took a lot of time trying to look through and trying to find some random, like really famous movie quotes. And what I was thinking is that I'm gonna just put on the randomizer. We're going to each get probably like 1 or 2, and then we're gonna try to do one of our characters' versions of that movie quote or that scene. Doesn't have to be perfect. It might be one line, might be like a bigger thing, but it definitely is something that I think we'll have a lot of fun with this one.
All right, Counselor Charlie, let her rip.
All right, so this is the way this game is going to work. So what we're going to do is I am going to give one of the counselors, and I have a couple from myself as well, a scene from a movie, like a famous character from a well-known movie. And you don't have to know the actual quote. It's going to be like, imagine that character with his personality is now in that role and how he would handle it. All right.
Yep.
Sure.
So let's give it a start. So Matt, we'll start with you. All right. So your scene is going to be, this is for Rupert.
Yep.
So Rupert is the captain of the Titanic, and he is letting people know that the ship hit an iceberg and it's going to sink.
Okay. And you just need me to
Like how do you think he would handle that
handle that,
what would he
specific
tell people?
situation.
Yeah. Like, what
Okay.
would he tell people?
Give me a second. Let me think about how he would handle that situation.
Yeah, it's an interesting one.
Yep.
Would he even allow it to hit the iceberg?
Okay. Ahoy, mateys. We have stormy seas. Stormy seas. We've just hit an iceberg and things aren't looking good. So just remember to collect your belongings. Make your way to the closest flotation device. If you can find one. Hold on. Hold on. And just remember, my heart will go on.
Very good. Very meta.
Very, very nice.
Ahoy, mateys.
No stealing doors.
That's exactly the way he would handle that circumstance. All right. All right. So next one, this is one for me that I literally am just going right down a list. There is no like there's one in
Yep.
particular that you'll understand at the end that I'm gonna give to somebody, but this is just randomly going down a list. Okay. So the next one is gonna be for me. I'm gonna do this as Quincy.
Yep.
And it's going to be that Quincy is the Terminator who's going into the bar scene when he tells a guy to give him his clothes, and then he says, "I'll be back." All right.
Yep.
So, all right, here we go. Hey, fellas. I'm a little cold. If you could just share some of those really warm, cool biker jackets, that'd be super swell. Oh, okay. You don't want. I guess that's all right. I guess I can come back another time. Thanks though. Enjoy your game.
Very nice.
Enjoy your game.
Yeah. He just seems like the character that just like I tried to set his personality. He's the one that's just like he's not really treated very nicely, but he doesn't know how to. But he always just like treats people well, even though he's not exactly always treated nicely by Quincy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He
I
just
think
takes one on the chin, right? He's always there to be like, yes, sir.
Mhm.
And what a nose to hold up a pair of sunglasses.
That is.
Right?
Ain't that the truth?
If you can believe it, though, just to take a short moment, Quincy's nose is almost twice as long as Quincy's nose.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
it's you wouldn't even think it, but it is true. I have them next to each other now, and I'm just like, oh yeah, no, I didn't even notice that. So, next one is for Steve.
Oh boy.
So, Duncan is the Grand Master of the Jedi Order, who is
Oh
now
boy.
realizing that Anakin has fallen to the dark side and the Jedi Order has been destroyed.
Oh geez. Okay, let's see. Anakin, what do you do? It, what, did you do? It's the whole thing. It's broke. It's broke. The whole thing. What, Anakin, I can't even believe it. Huh?
That's good. So much emotion.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is a great one.
That's exactly what he would say.
All right. All right, we're going back to you, Matt.
Yep.
And this is for Snarkoni. All right. So Snarkoni is Forrest Gump sitting on a bench explaining to the person next to him the story of his life.
Okay. I've seen a lot of things in my day. Rubbernecking, catnipping, cow tipping, gallivanting. You ever have a box of chocolates before? Dark chocolate, the best kind. I like my chocolate nice and dark. I'm just here waiting for a bus if it feels like showing up. But for now, I think we should go throw some dummies off the bridge in oncoming traffic. Wouldn't that be fun? It'll be a grand time.
Very
That's Narconi.
yeah. Oh,
Always up to no good.
yeah.
Yep, always gallivanting.
Even waiting for a bus.
Yeah, he likes the dark chocolate.
All right. Next one's for me. This is for Quincy. So the scene for Quincy is he's the captain of the boat, another boat captain, huh? So he's the captain of the boat that is being attacked by Jaws.
Mm.
All right. Well, I just got this boat paid off, and now we got this giant shark coming around. I don't, I don't know. I mean, did I do something wrong here? I mean, why would the shark pick my boat? But this boat didn't do anything wrong. No, I don't need a bigger boat. I just want him to stay away from my boat. I just don't think my boat deserves it. I've been such a good person. Oh, well, he's hungry? I mean, I get it, but aren't there other boats that you could eat?
Wow.
Well done, Charlie.
Yes. Thank you. I just feel like
That is very, very
was me.
Quincy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. So I saved the best one for last. I am
Oh,
very
boy.
excited about this. And see, this is a lot of pressure, but you'll understand.
Oh, geez.
All right. So as Duncan once again,
Uh-huh.
I had to hear Duncan's version of the classic Taken scene with Liam Neeson.
Oh. All right. Jeez. This is very outside of Duncan's character to be this way. So I will start by saying that. All right. Look, you. Look, no, look. I am very angry, and I must tell you that I have a certain particular set of what you might call skills, what you may refer to as learned, what have you, things that I have done in the past that I could show to you if you were to not comply with this certain set of circumstances that I am presenting at you right now. How's that? Is that
that is wonderful.
Well done. Very, very Duncan.
Oh, that was great. Thanks for being part of that, guys. I know that would be a fun one. All right. So we did the history, we played some games, had some fun here. I think we're getting to the end of this episode, this wrap up. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go around the counselors. They're gonna get their last thoughts on the project, anything else they want to throw out there. And then I will finish off by giving a shout out to some of the people who are also part of this that obviously aren't in this discussion and give my thoughts as well. So why don't we start over with you, Steve?
great? Thank you. Um, I will start by saying mad props to Counselor Charlie for kind of setting the final tale in motion. I think that came together the way it did due to your planning. So I knew going into that process of helping you shoot and edit that video that you had it under control, that you had thought about the story and how it all ties up at the end. So I was happy to lend that hand and kind of inject what was previously in Rupert and Grovel into this Quincy video. But yeah, I think it was a very special experience to look back through old footage, and like that episode is kind of cobbled together from old footage that we had when we had originally shot Rupert and Grovel, like 15 years ago. And to see it all come together and like piece together as a bigger puzzle to wrap that story up, it was special. It was a special project to like get the game back together. So yeah, it felt like a good send off for everybody, for that whole crew.
Counselor Matt?
I would second that. I think Steve said it very well, that not only was it a great experience to do Rupert and Grovel and to have Quincy continue to carry the torch through the years, but to see all the characters back together. I think, Charlie, you did a great job with the script and with kind of wrangling all these puppeteers and voice actors back together, and getting the assistance from Steve with some of the editing and music and animation. And it was just a true delight to see this reunion come to form. And the best part about it is, like I said earlier, it's on YouTube. So I would say to any of the campers, if you haven't seen Rupert and Grovel or the Quincy videos before, take a look on the links that I'm sure Charlie will attach to this episode. And thank you for 15 years. And who knows, maybe we'll have a reboot sometime in the distant future. But I think for now, this feels like a nice ending. And well done.
I would say thank you to you guys. I'll tell you, when I first started helping you guys all those years ago, and I mentioned this earlier, it was really an experience that I wasn't expecting to enjoy as much as I did. When you're like, hey, we're going to make Rupert and Grovel things. Do you want to just help us with behind the scenes? And oh, yeah, we want Quincy to have this tiny little part in the Christmas episode. I wasn't expecting it to affect me so much in a positive way and make me realize how much you could put your personality and creativeness into a project like that. And being able to be part of that, then to continue forward with Quincy on and off over the years, and then finish off with this story, it just felt really great. And it was really my goal to make sure that not only the characters on screen, but really the people off screen were all going to get that final piece that they could just go, you know what, like, this was a great last story. We finally came back together. We've always kind of thought about it. We thought, were we going to do this or that? Now we did it. So we could feel really good about that. And I just really enjoyed working with everybody involved. And I wanted to take a minute to just thank the people who were part of this universe in one way or another, who are obviously not part of this conversation. Obviously, the three of us all had our roles, but I just want to thank everyone else. So the first person I'll thank, which I mentioned before, was Ben. Ben helped out with a few of the filmings of Rupert and Grovel episodes as well, along with me. And then also, like I said, in 2010, he, as Myrtle the Turtle, did a skit with me as Quincy for the final time, because obviously Rupert and Grovel did the first two, did 08, 09, and we did 2010. So Ben played a smaller role in everything earlier on, but obviously having his part in it was just a huge deal, and we really thank you a lot, Ben, for being part of that. Next person I want to thank is Andrea. Andrea was the voice of the fish. She was just really funny with that. She also was the person that was called up in the Rupert and Grovel live video in that scene. So she has definitely been helping out in this universe for many years. And her coming back as Fish again for the final episode with that little cameo of Fish was something I thought about for years. And to see it when it came together was just like, I giggled so hard when I was like, oh my gosh, this actually came together exactly the way I always envisioned it. And it was just so great to see, and thank her so much for just bringing her own personality into that character. Next person I want to thank is my brother Tyler. Tyler, he helped a lot with those Quincy videos, those early individual Quincy videos. Obviously, he did a lot of stuff when we used the puppets for the Star Bros stuff that we did. And it was really important to me to give him his own character. That's why, like, really, Mr. Woods, we bought him, and I was really like, I would love to give him a character where he could just put his own personality into it. And I was so happy that he was able to put his voice on screen for a small character in the last tale. So thank you so much, Tyler. And then the last person, obviously, we need to thank is Joe. Joe was one of the original creators of, obviously, the voice of Grovel. He created a lot of the early puppets, really many of them, and his personality and stuff really kept going along. It was great to have him back, as well as everybody else, for the final tale. And thank you, Joe, for everything you did. And to you guys, I mean, it was a team effort. People from different walks of life, different considerations, starting with skits and appearances at Squanto to YouTube videos with different dialects and different things like that, and then growing as it went. It was just a really fun project to be part of. And I just think that anybody who listens to this podcast feed, if you're looking for something that's just lighthearted and fun, then go check out the Quincy the Puppet or Maglewood YouTube channels. Again, we'll put links into the description of this video. You can also go to the Squanto Puppet Universe Instagram account. We've just posted some things there. And then on top of that, there are the links to the YouTube channels and everything in there. So you can get a little more information about that. But thank you so much to everybody who supported this project over 15 years on and off. It was just a blast. I don't think I could say anything better than that. And I know that we're just going to keep watching them and talking about this for years and years to come.
Well said, Charlie.
Thank you. So yeah, so that is it for this episode of the Truth Cabin. It was great to come back to the cabin and do this. And we could just tell people that this is just a one episode time for this, but there'll definitely be another time where I'm sure something else will come up, and we will definitely be making more in some way, but only time will tell what that will be. You can go over to our Instagram account at The Truth Cabin to get information about episodes of The Truth Cabin and other spin-off shows that we've been doing on the podcast feed. But thank you so much, everybody, for supporting the Squanto Puppet Universe and for listening to this episode of The Truth Cabin. This is Charlie.
This is Matt.
And this is Steve.
And we will talk to you soon, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
See you real soon.